Welcome to the ESPN Weekly Wrap-Up. I'm Clark Dishman. We've got a lot of scores to go over, so let's get to it. We'll begin with the Giants, who got a loss in this one to finish the season at 6-10. The Raiders come away with a 7-point win over the Chiefs. Up in Cleveland, we had the Browns win by 31. Baltimore got great output from their offense in a win over Pittsburgh. The Saints get their 10th win of the year. Cincinnati came away with a tough loss on the road. The Cowboys come away with a 2-point nail-biter over the Redskins. Over in an AFC East matchup, we had the Patriots win by 1. Detroit got a ton of yardage on offense in a win over Minnesota. The Titans get their 11th win of the year. Indianapolis came away losing a heartbreaker in their own division. The Cardinals come away with an 8-point victory over the Broncos. Out in New York, we had the Jets win by 9. San Diego got a solid effort from their QB-picking defense in a win over Seattle. The Bears get their 11th win of the year. And wrapping it up, we had the Rams win by 7. Now let's go straight to our ESPN Highlight of the Week. Marshall Faulk ran the ball well this week, including this one, his longest of the day. Marshall Faulk is our ESPN Offensive Player of the Week. And when you look at his numbers, you can see why. A standout performance by anyone's standards. Brady Jackson comes away with some remarkable numbers, and it shows that he was truly a force to be reckoned with. He gets our ESPN Defensive Player of the Week award. At the end of the season here at ESPN, we like to take some time and recognize the players that were the best of the best throughout the year. So let's get to them. Darren Bennett gets credit for the longest punt of the year. His ability to kick it from his own end zone repeatedly got his offense out of tough situations. And his ability to kick it deep gave his defense opportunities for the big play. An all-around performer. Bill Gramatica walks away with sole possession of the longest field goal of the year. When it comes to accuracy, distance, and being cool under pressure, he was the man to watch. Derek Brooks racked up the most tackles this year. His physical combination of blinding speed and crushing strength is augmented by an uncanny ability to read an offense. It's a deadly combination, as every offense he faced this season found out. Kwame Lassiter came away with the most interceptions this season. When it comes to reading a quarterback's eyes, shadowing a receiver, or leaping up to make the steal, there's nobody that compares. Leonard Little gets the coveted Most Sacks in the Season award. Explosive off the ball, amazing power, and blinding speed are all attributes that come to mind. He crushed the competition as he crushed his quarterback prey in his quest to be the best. Jimmy Smith grabbed, nabbed, and fought his way to the most receptions this year. A master of fighting off coverages, a deliverer of devastating fakes, and a performer of fantastic circus catches made him the go-to guy. Curtis Martin pounded and sprinted to the most rushing yards this season. He's a man that could be counted on to give it all, from the 1-yard touchdown blast up the middle to the entire field sprint down the sideline. An amazing performer. Dante Culpepper passed his way to the #1 slot this year and walks away with the highest-rated quarterback award. If the word accuracy came up this season, there was a good chance they were talking about him and the amazing throws he makes. Julius Peppers came into the NFL, then came away with the Rookie of the Year award. His improvement over the year, his impressive stats, and his value to his team gave the judges no question in the voting. We're all anxious to see where his career leads. Santana Moss comes away with a Special Teams Player of the Year. The Special Teams unit can make or break a game, bring it back from the jaws of defeat, or put a game out of reach in the first quarter. He's done all of that. He gets the award. Brian Urlacher knocked down the wall and barged off with the Defensive Player of the Year award. What can you say about a man that takes over a game like a pack of wolves takes care of dinner? Well, you don't say much, you just politely hand him the award. Randy Moss got his team first downs, touchdowns, and victories, and now he's victorious with the Offensive Player of the Year award. The NFL is a team game, and this is the man that made the team. A joy to watch and an honor to bestow the award to. That will do it for the awards, and that will do it for us. I'm Clark Dishman here on ESPN. We'll see you next time.
I'm Chris Berman. Welcome to ESPN's NFL Primetime. We got a lot of games to cover. Let's get at it. In our first game this week, we had the Bills stroll away with a 14-point win. In an NFC East matchup, we had the Eagles pick up win number 12. The 49ers lost this one, but will stay at number 1 in the NFC West. Sean Barber played well despite the loss and showed us why he's ranked up at the top of the league. Raiders, Chargers. Charlie Garner is on the move. Big hole left side. He's thinking touchdown. Look at how far he goes. He could get close to the end zone. The Raiders win this one by the final score of 24-7. Michael Vick threw for 250-plus yards and helped his Falcons beat the Jaguars. Up in the Motor City, Detroit, we had the Lions get sent home with a 14-point loss. Up at Giant Stadium, we had the Giants very confidently win by 16. The Steelers erupted for 400-plus offensive yards in their victory at M&T Stadium. Broncos, Packers. Amon Green, moving quick right, plows over a couple. He's in. 24-yard touchdown. The Packers go on to win this by the final score of 31-6. The Bengals won at home and finished their season by giving the crowd something to cheer about. The Cardinals won this contest but will stay at the 4th place in the NFC West. In a long-standing AFC rivalry, we had the Jets pick up their 11th win of the year. The Buccaneers lost this week, but despite the setback, they're still situated atop their division. Colts, Texans. Starvin' Marvin Harrison figures on a long bomb. If you can do this, why not let everybody know that you're the one that scored the touchdown? A little high step, juke and jive. 6. The Colts win this one by the final score of 20-14. And in our final game, we had the Cowboys come away victorious. And then there were 12, the playoffs, right around the corner, which means it's time for our regular season awards. But first, my primetime players. The final round of game bowls go to these Warriors, each with a standout performance in the final game of the regular season. All right, as promised, here's a look at this year's best of the best, our season-ending NFL awards. Charlie Garner, without a doubt, is going to take home the hardware in this one. You see the numbers on your screen, but numbers really don't tell the whole story. Leadership, work ethic, love of the game, that's what truly makes him stand out. Yeah, without question, the best year of anyone. Marshall Faulk is definitely the choice here with numbers like that. Say what you want about this being an era of passing, but a big-time running back gets my vote for this year's Offensive Player of the Year. Redskins linebacker gets the nod as our Defensive Player of the Year. I think when you look at this award, you think of guys that can really excel against either the run or the pass. But this guy can do both. What a year he had. Taylor Jacobs comes away with the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. Here's a guy that stepped in and demonstrated he belonged in this league almost from the get-go. He's got a heck of a bright future ahead. Boss Bailey was our Defensive Rookie of the Year. Hard to think of any young linebacker with better instincts for the football than he has. He wins it in a landslide. Ricky Williams ran away with the rushing title this year. Talk about a threat out of the backfield, my friends. Finesse, speed, a surprising amount of power, which he used to bowl over the few who actually managed to lay a finger on him. What a year. That'll do it, sports fans. I'm Chris Berman, and thanks so much for joining us here in the Bristol studios. We'll see you next week right here on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Hey, I'm Chris Berman. Got a lot of games to cover. Let's get at it. In our first game this week, we had the Buccaneers come away with a brutal 18-point victory. We had an interesting free agency pickup of note here. Trey's got the lowdown for us. Trey?
This guy will have a new place to call home as he accepts a new contract. 2 years, $1.1 million.
In a long-standing NFC rivalry, we had the Cowboys win their 5th game of the season. The Dolphins won this contest, but will stay at the 3rd place in the AFC East. Jamie Image Sharper had another fantastic week, and in the victory kept his streak of landmark stats alive. Marshall Faulk pulled down 100-plus receiving yards and helped his Rams beat the Jets. Bengals, Eagles. Corel General Buckhalter is in the backfield at the 37-yard line, gets the pitch, spins right there, whoop! And then at the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5, touchdown! The Eagles win this one by the final score of 28-17. In the gentle climes of the Carolinas, we had the Panthers win this one to the tune of 13 points. Up in Chicago, we had the Bears edge their way to a narrow 3-point win. The Raiders lost at home in their final game of the year. The Steelers' defense pummeled their way to 5 sacks in their win at Ralph Wilson Stadium. The Colts lost this one, but will stay at number 1 in the AFC South. We had a big injury in this one, and Trey has the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Chris, thanks. And our only injuries this week are of the season-ending variety. Trevor Price is done for the year as he'll watch the rest of the season from the sidelines, and they'll be scrambling now to find someone that can fill his shoes. So that'll do it for now. Chris, let's send it back to you.
49ers, Patriots. Tom Brady looking over the defense from the 22-yard line, and a pump fake. Everybody stops. Oh, that buys the time for the TD. The Patriots go on to win this by the final score of 31-24. Peerless Price stepped it up this week and gave his team some added firepower for the win. In a long-standing AFC rivalry, we had the Chiefs win their 9th game of the year. Tyrone Calico pulled down 100-plus receiving yards and helped his Titans beat the Lions. And in our final game, we had the Vikings come away victorious.
All right, Boomer, thanks. All right, folks, our playoff picture has now been officially finalized. So let's take a look at it now, shall we? We'll begin with a look at the AFC. Meanwhile, let's take a look at how things stand over in the NFC. So there you have it, the regular season now in the books. Time to see which of these 12 teams will emerge as Super Bowl champs. We'll get it started for you on ESPN next weekend. And that'll do it from here. Chris, let's send it back over to you.
And then there were 12, the playoffs, right around the corner, which means it's time for our regular season awards. But first, my primetime players. The final round of game balls go to these Warriors, each with a standout performance in the final game of the regular season. All right, as promised, here's a look at this year's best of the best, our season-ending NFL awards. Matt Hasselbeck, without a doubt, is going to take home the hardware in this one. You see the numbers on your screen, but numbers really don't tell the whole story. Leadership, work ethic, love of the game, that's what truly makes him stand out. Yeah, without question, the best year of anyone. Steve Air McNair has got to be our choice for Offensive Player of the Year, and you've got to be hard-pressed to find better numbers than that. Obviously, give a lot of credit to the rest of the offense, but this is the guy that was driving the car, so to speak. Corey Chavis gets the nod as our Defensive Player of the Year, and I'll tell you what, there was no one better at taking quarterbacks and receivers alike completely out of their game. Great season. Ben Roethlisberger comes away with the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. You know, it's very difficult to come straight from college, be handed the keys to an NFL offense, but he stepped in and did a bang-up job. Watch out, he's only going to get better with age. DJ Williams was our Defensive Rookie of the Year. Hard to think of any young linebacker with better instincts for the football than he has. He wins it in a landslide. Fred Taylor ran away with the rushing title this year. Talk about a threat out of the backfield, my friends. Finesse, speed, a surprising amount of power, which he used to bowl over the few who actually managed to lay a finger on him. What a year. That'll do it, sports fans. I'm Chris Berman, and thanks so much for joining us here in the Bristol studios. We'll see you next week right here on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.